the action from the PE2EL London is proudly brought to you by Carbonology Sport, Mazars, Bait Chubb and Dixon, and Out the Green Box. One of the world's greatest paddling events, the Carbonology PE2EL London Surfski Challenge, is hosted every other year by the Border Canoe Club, and it lured another big field to the Summerstrand SLC in early December for the 2018 event. There was huge value for the paddlers, each getting a first ascent down jacket in their Out the Green Box goodie bag. Safety and logistics are absolutely critical to the success of this event, and the organisers excelled at dotting every I and crossing every T. Pre-dawn at Blue Water Bay for the start, and without exception, there are butterflies in the stomachs. The vibe and camaraderie that is a hallmark of this race is evident at the event even before the first paddle stroke is taken.
I think it's going to be a long hard slog today, looking very flat. Hopefully a bit of waves for us to ride when we get into Woody Cape, but other than that it's just going to be a tough day, I think.
This is the 8th time that I'm here, and it's just we see it as an adventure. We know that many things can happen on the sea. The weather dictates what the day is going to be like, so we see it as an adventure.
No one in any great rush. 250 kilometers is a long way to paddle, and successful paddlers know how to build an innings at the PE2EL London. Conditions in PE great for tourists. A mild west making it a long slog to Woody Cape for the paddlers on day one, a proper 75 kilometres. Hardly any surf off Blue Water Bay as the first batch gets underway. While back on the beach, the nearest and dearest are making sure that their loved ones leave with a few choice last words of advice. Then it's off time and out through the mild surf in the bay. Day one of 75 kilometres, starting in PE and heading northeast to the compulsory checkpoint, then on to the iconic Woody Cape. The flat windless conditions making a great way to start, and big bunches form to allow wave riding and some good banter to help settle the nerves. On board with the double ski crew of Buller Wood and Rob Reeves, setting a cracking pace. The NSRI boat drops anchor off the Sunday's river mouth for the compulsory check-in. This keeps the skis inshore and makes a huge difference in accounting for every participant. Conditions on the day couldn't have been more benign, but that's a great safe way to start the event. Then the skis follow the coastline out towards Woody Cape, soaking up a stunning section of coastline with massive sand dunes. Masters Ludovic Rabi and Stefan de Toy going nicely. Sandile Menjanjala and Craig Webster purring like a well-oiled engine on day one. And there is no way that the Dolphins were going to miss out on this annual surfski celebration. Woody Cape has a fearsome reputation for huge surf, and even though it wasn't as massive as some years, there was a long section from the backline in that had to be navigated with respect and taken on with confidence by boats that are tired after a long day. Hein van Rooyen and Jason Goodall showing us how it's done.
Yeah, we didn't actually know what to expect. We knew there was a bit of a period with about a 2 metre swell, and for Woody Cape that's fair size. Coming in at the back there were some proper waves coming through, and thought we were in the wrong place at one stage, but it held up nicely and we managed to get a clean one in.
The Carbonology duo are such cool heads in the surf, as is Bevan Manson in his single.
We're all together probably at 50 or 55 k's. and I really pushed from there to the finish. So I did a good 20 Ks on my own, sort of as hard as I could. So yeah, the last 2 hours was really tough.
Woody Cape is notorious. Today, as you can see behind me, we've got a six footer solid coming through, so it's pretty testing. And a 6 foot wave after almost 80 kilometers of paddling it can be a 100-foot wave. It's like Nazaré in Portugal. It's so daunting because you're so tired, your reflexes aren't there, and as you can see, there've been quite a few spills, maybe 1 or 2 broken boats, but yeah, we take it on.
Day 1 done. A few properly done and dusted by Woody Cape. Then the priority is R&R, rest and recovery for day 2. The first stage setting up the elite race nicely. Hein van Rooyen and Jason Goodall's quickest in the double ski, with Bevan Manson leading the key single ski race from Jason Ekstrand and Steve Woods. This race has a massive heritage, and front and centre of that is John Woods.
Well, John Ball, who's an ultra long distance runner and has run most of the continents around the world, he challenged through some friends of his seconds, challenged some people in the club, and what started as going to be a team race wound up with a one-man, and he was the other, and it sort of whittled down just to the two of us. You know, when we discussed, well, what are the rules, there were none. So if he wanted to walk on the beach in the dark, so be it. So we just kept to that, and 4 days, and you've got the sea throwing everything up at you, you've got the winds to contend with. That is the challenge. And you know, just the vast different distances and the differences in tides, they can all make such a difference on the race. It's quite daunting if you're paddling along, and as we did one year, when we were 5 Ks from Woody Cape, the waves were as high as a double-story building, and you know, people were they were helicopter lifted out of the surf zone because it was so, it was radical. My lasting impression of the race would be that year that they had the 20-foot surf.
Day 2, and the weather has picked up. A solid northeaster on the cards, so some big calls needed to be made, reversing the course from Port Alfred to Woody Cape.
We had some consultation with NSRI, and the time that the back guys will be on the water today into a gusting 20 knots northeasterly would probably be around about 9 hours, and you'd probably find quite a big fallout, but in terms of just the spread of paddlers, it wouldn't be conducive to good safety.
The one not negotiable is safety, and the paddlers back every call the organisers made to keep every paddler safe.
The rogue wave caught me behind about 2 Ks from the end, and it threw me off my boat, and my boat went out and got hammered at shore break and all those things, and this is the result. Luckily I've got a spare, not as light as this boat, but I have to finish.
Today is looking good for us because downwind, it's like we breathe on the downwind, you know. We have to just chase the runs, you know, to finish today.
With the east-northeaster getting stronger all the time and the surf a bit messy, the start of the 55-kilometre leg from Port Alfred had a few early morning surprises. Action from the double ski of Brendan Crichton and Simon Daniel as they head out from Port Alfred. There is a mean mid-break aggravated by the choppy sea, and all that everybody wants is to get out clean. That much talked about Carbonology S3 with Sipho Koko, Zonele Nzuza and Raul Goosen slaying the Port Alfred surf on the way out. But this is a far cry from the meek day 1, and this is what the PE2EL London is all about. Here's a little masterclass in bossing the surf from Buller Wood and Rob Reeves. It's it's all a bit intimidating for the next batch of single skis anxiously waiting to be set on their way by the starter. Getting out in surf like this is all about patience, timing, and when you see your gap, raw power. The reversed order Day 2 course from Port Alfred, designed to take advantage of the strong wind shaping between east and northeast, with Kenton roughly halfway to Woody Cape. Back with Brendan and Simon, who, after a flat Day 1, have found the runs from the following seas. This is the open ocean nirvana that makes surfski totally unique. Fuller Wood and Rob Reeves also styling in the well-formed runs. Kenton on Sea is located between the Boesmans and Kariga rivers, and it forms the halfway mark on stage 2. The tracking shows some really fast times, around 17 plus kilometers per hour for some of the doubles, as a result of the big runs on offer. Past Kenton and then down to the finish at Woody Cape, where the surf was being a little bit kinder than it was at the end of Day 1. There's a great tussle going on at the front, and it's Brett Hadiaris and Ross Fountain who get to the finish at Woody Cape first. But is it enough?
Sure, well, the back of the mind was we needed to try and claw back 5 minutes from Han, who's in front. We thought today we could do it, but it doesn't look like it. I think the conditions were good for everybody. It was probably the best downwind conditions we've had the whole year. It's the best way I can describe it is probably a 54-kilometer roller coaster. So
the race leaders after Day 1, Hein van Rooyen and Jason Goodhouse, finished second double on the day, but they were slower than the on-fire single skis of Bevan Manson and Steve Wood, who simply blitzed the big downwind.
It was amazing, best conditions, not too wild, not too big, just fast and really great runs. Stevie and I were within 100 meters of each other for the whole race, from the start to the finish.
Yes, it was a cracker today. I'm sure everyone's going to love it when they get in. It was really nice. Most of the way, we just had to get out past that current line, and then the wind just started pumping. It was really good.
Super fast times. The leaders covering the 55 Ks in 3 hours 12 minutes on a day that will be talked about for a long time to come. Even the surf on the way back in at Woody Cape was playing ball and not spoiling too many paddlers' days. Day 2 times are wild, 3¼ hours, but the standout performance undoubtedly Bevan Manson and Steve Woods in their single skis. But it's the GC after Day 2 that's interesting, because Van Rooyen and Goodhouse are still a minute clear at the front of the race. But the real rock stars of this event are the NSRI. They were discreetly omnipresent, and quite simply, this event would not be possible without their professionalism. Every paddler carried a smartphone in a dry bag using the SafeTrax Flotilla software. And while this was hampered by some areas that had zero cell phone coverage, most of the race was brilliantly tracked, stroke by stroke, boat by boat. The NSRI, the unsung heroes of the PE2EL London. Much of the chatter was about lines and ways to avoid the strong countercurrent that was running into the paddlers.
Yeah, the conditions look great today. Swells dropped, so it's not as technical, hopefully. And I think the best line is a shallow line, current-wise. It looks we'll just try and hug the coast and take the best advantage of the wind.
It's been a couple of tough days, really. Shoulders are feeling it, but I think everyone is now. So this is always a tough one on top of 2 hard days. But it's hopefully end in sight. Now we're halfway through it, and just got to knuckle down. And this is where it really becomes a challenge.
The first batch of doubles gets called down to the water for the start of the third stage and the exit through the Port Alfred surf before turning north. This time it was far less stressful handling the surf. It's a good thing, as energy conservation would be key on this stage. It's around 68 kilometers northeast to the beach at Hamburg, with the day's safety checkpoint at the mouth of the Fish River. Brett Hadiaris and Ross Fountain with a minute to try and make up on the leaders going into stage 3, trying to reel in the Carbonology duo of Van Rooyen and Goodals. Then the single skis, fronted by the tearaways, Manson and Woods. Despite the way it looked, the shore break at Port Alfred still had plenty of mongrel. Manson so chilled in big surf and already on a racing line rather than bolting straight out to the back line. Duncan Boyd starting day 3 really well as he hunts a singles podium spot. But it is this man, Bevan Manson, who is just simply unstoppable. Buller and Rob relaxed and fast, plenty of juice on board in the footwells, and they're chilled enough for a chat as well. Crispin Thompson nearest us with Lee Hawkins both having great races, while another Cape Townian, Jamie Hamlin, powers on. It's significant that much of this big entry has come from outside of the border region, from Cape Town and Durban in particular. The safety checkpoint at the Fish River mouth is a beach stop that is essential for safety purposes.
You know, it's always been just another safety check to enable so halfway or somewhere along the course for the paddlers to come in and give their numbers and on their way back out to sea after that.
With light winds and a change in the wind direction, the surf was chilled at the Fish River beach stop. It's a welcome leg stretch, a chance to connect with your seconds, grab a cold drink and maybe a bite to eat before setting off back out to sea and the Hamburg finish. Race leaders Hein and Jason milking the runs beautifully in the mild southwester, as is Vantagos. Conditions like this take the angst out of the paddle and allow the paddlers to savour the runs and take time to appreciate the mind-blowing scenery, especially those that have opted for lines closer inshore. At the beach at Hamburg, all eyes on the water to confirm the race developments that everybody's been following on safe tracks. Hayden Holmes and Graydon Mitchley, the first ski into Hamburg in their blast.
Yo, I'm ecstatic to be on the third day here at the beach at Hamburg. But flip, it was a long pool today. It took us forever. It doesn't, like the last 10 kilometers just seem to go on and on forever.
Race leaders Hein van Rooyen and Jason Goodals power into Hamburg, finishing just ahead of Vantagos and consolidating their overall race lead. Bevan Manson banking another great day in his single, chuffed to see land at Hamburg after a long day. Day 3 is always key to setting up the race for the elites. While Manson drove a wedge between himself and Woods in the singles, Andrew Stone and Howard Loftus came into the frame 3 minutes quicker than Hadiaris and Fountain. With day 3 done and dusted, it feels like the back of the race is broken, and the overnight is a festive and special vibe. This common bond and camaraderie is a hallmark of the PE2EL London.
It's more of a, it's like being in a war, I suppose. A lot of the guys kind of share the same pain and everybody's going through the same thing. It doesn't matter whether you're first or last. There's no superstars in this race. It's just a big group of mates that kind of come along and go through pain together, and at the end of the day have like a brotherhood at the end of it.
There's still over 50 Ks to East London, so the tired bodies need a service and oil change. Based in PE, Carbonology leapt in to sponsor this event for very good reasons.
Very excited to be involved. It was very much of an emotive decision for us to be involved in the race. Carbonology itself is two friends that are doing what they love.
I mean, from the early days, we both had a strong interest in composites and obviously fixing Malibu boards and surf skis and just working with stuff. And slowly we did more and more and got involved with the right people.
What sets us apart is that Carbonology Sport as a brand is a very personal experience. You're directly involved with the owner of the company, that's directly involved with the design of each product. Their hand is 99% of the time in each boat that leaves the factory. And that is very special, I think, in a way, for any business.
The proud sponsors also the crew leading the race going into the final stage. Mild weather conditions greeted the paddlers at Hamburg for the last day's start.
It's going to be a flat day. I don't expect any trouble. I think it's a backline paddle all the way there, and just try and get a little bit of slip, try and get a little bit of help here and there, and keep a smile on the face for the finish.
Oh, now we're feeling like we're home, you know.
Yeah, boy.
Last day, you know.
Yeah.
No looking back, all forwards, eh?
We're quite sheltered where we are now. I think if we just pop our noses out a little bit, we might catch a little bit more of the west, but it's never going to be a big wind day. It's going to be an attrition grinding day, and we just got to finish up.
Back on board with Brendan and Simon at the Hamburg start. Small surf and a really light southwest to westerly breeze, making for a bit of a slog on the final stage to the overall race finish in East London. Once again, lines and avoiding the currents coming in from the north would be key. Jamie Hamlin giving us a ride out through the surf break in Hamburg. He's a wise old sea dog, and those gloves make managing hands a lot easier. Singles race leader Bevan Manson had almost half an hour on Steve Woods, so he won't be feeling the pressure at all. The last stage is a 53-kilometre haul northeast to East London, with the day's compulsory beach checkpoint at Kids Beach. That meant that a close inshore line was favoured as a good direct option, and it also stayed away from the southern currents that are a bit deeper. Kids Beach and the race's last checkpoint stop. The surf pretty benign, but with a diagonal approach you have to mind your P's and Q's. Hayden Holmes and Graydon Mitchell still going strong, as is second placed Andrew Stone and Howard Loftus. Bulla Wood and Rob Reeves crashing out at Kids Beach. It isn't halfway yet on the 53-kilometre last stage, but for every single paddler, it feels like you have turned into the last lap of a long race. Then every stroke feels like a stroke closer to home in East London. The paddlers start to pick up on landmarks on the shore that tell them that they are almost there. PE stalwarts Rob Welsh and Marcus Burry leading the Grand Masters doubles. And somehow, the energy returns to their weary bodies. The last turn around the harbour mouth in East London would also have the last roll of the dice. First into the finish is the doubles crew of Howard Loftus and Andrew Stone. It turns out that they just managed to get across the harbour mouth before a ship exited the harbour. Then the race leaders Hein van Rooyen and Jason Goodals were quite correctly held back by the NSRI safety boat until the big ship had left the harbour. So, a moment of glory for Andrew and Howard.
I think Kids Beach, we were lucky, we had a nice wave in, and a set came through and I held the other guys back a bit. Andrew told me which line to take, good driving from the back for him. So awesome, we worked hard and maxed the whole way.
Then the charge to the line by the three boats that were forced to stop at the harbour mouth. Fortunately, the GPS trackers made it easy to clearly analyse each boat's progress and to deduct the forced waiting time. Hein van Rooyen and Jason Goodals, the leading doubles, and Bevan Manson finishing as he started, so strong.
The guys went off so hard. I think there were time gaps and guys were racing for positions. The first half was really fast. I think I was third or fourth at halfway. And then I just gathered myself, and Stevie and I had quite a nice race again. And I just went to plan.
Super special moment as John Woods hands over the finishers' medals. Bianca Bubbles Bevitt in a class of her own in the women's single ski race.
I think it's amazing. It's so hard, but you come around the point and it takes your breath away, and you have a moment, you can see everyone at the beach, and I don't think there are words to describe. And you still think I'll come back for another one.
Hugs of proud congrats from her dad Chris as the rest of the field finishes on a surge of adrenaline. The singles easily decided by the bullocking Bevan Manson. The doubles was finally settled by analysis of the GPS tracking, putting Van Rooyen and Goodals as the winners, and that was totally amicably accepted by all the crews involved. But in total sync with the ethos of this race, Van Rooyen and Goodals asked to share the overall title with Loftus and Stone, and the race committee agreed. as the prize-giving formalities brought down the curtain on another classic PE2 East London. This incredible show of sportsmanship has helped take the legend of this remarkable event to a whole new level. Until 2020. All the action from the PE2 East London was proudly brought to you by Carbonology Sport, Mazars, Bait Chubb and Dixon, and Out the Green Box.